Welcome back to Naval Action, and today we're going to have a look at the Bucentaure. We, as alpha testers, actually all got a free Bucentaure recently. That was a bit of a sorry ship from the devs after they had a pretty close to a day's worth of outages due to some network problems. So let's have a little look at the Bucentaure and her history and see what we can see. Firstly, Bucentaure, which is French for bull centaur, is probably the top, at the moment in the game, the top second-rate ship. And she had a rather tragic history, really, the Bucentaure. She was laid down in not long before Trafalgar. She was first put together in, or laid down as they say, in 1802. Her first captain was a chap called Latouche-Treville, who actually had a quite august history in the French Navy. However, he died of illness in August, only a year after the ship was launched. The Bucentaure's first real act of notoriety is that this is where the French and the Spanish met while cowering in Cadiz from the British fleet to come up with, well, what shall we do? Shall we engage the British fleet? Shall we stay in here? And there's a little bit of a famous story that the the Spanish recommended staying in port, that there was storms coming, and they made some comment about how the air pressure was falling, and the French made some comment about the only thing that was falling was Spanish bravery. So that's excellent, isn't it, when your allies are gibbering to each other like this? That can only go well. As a result, eventually, under the instruction of Villeneuve, the Bucentaure and the Spanish and French fleet would famously leave Cadiz, and in October 1805, the Battle of Trafalgar would take place. Now, during the Battle of Trafalgar, Bucentaure was captained by Jean-Jacques Megendie, and also was the flagship for Villeneuve. And famously, it's... let me just loose some cannons before I carry on. Oh. I won't actually loose some cannons on that one. He's done a bit of fancy turning. Famously, the Victory charged at the line at the battle, and it was during this charge that Victory came up on the stern of the Bucentaure and unloosed a super powerful raking shot that absolutely devastated the crew of the Bucentaure, killing 197 men. Almost 200 men were killed in one volley. So remember, the Victory had spent the best part of 40 minutes sailing into the combined gun line of the French and Spanish, but when she finally got there, she pierced the line between the Redoutable and the Bucentaure, and as she pierced the line, she managed to get a stern rake off on the Bucentaure, and in doing so absolutely wrecked her crew, killing almost 200, killing her captain, Jean-Jacques Megendie. Somehow Villeneuve himself survived, fortunately some say, and 85 men were, for all intents and purposes, taken out of action by the raking action. And not so long later, as the Bucentaure really had to withdraw from the battle, which you can imagine in itself is a bit of a disaster, as the Bucentaure had to withdraw from the battle, she was eventually captured by HMS Conqueror, and when Villeneuve heard they'd been captured, or knew they were going to be captured, he asked who was the captain of the Conqueror. And when he was told it was Pello, he immediately thought that this was the famous Pello who gave us our sights, Edward Pello. And he sort of said, well, that's okay, I don't mind being captured by Edward Pello, he's a fine chap and all. However, he soon realised that it wasn't even Edward Pello who captured him, it was his brother, Israel Pello. Never one to miss a beat. He pointed out that how fortunate Britain was to have two such sturdy brothers. And so that was the history of the Bucentaure. After the battle, a capture crew was taking her back to port for the Brits, but the French rose up and freed themselves. However, during a storm, only a few days later, she was wrecked. So Bucentaure was really only in action for 2 years, and in that time she was part of a bit of a peace treaty, or a tactical discussion between the Allies, and then at her first major engagement her crew were wrecked, the ship was captured, and in the end she never really fired a shot in anger, other than at the victory in the British weather fleet as it tried to drive into them at Trafalgar. So, not exactly the most esteemed history. So what about the ship in the game? Well, first of all, let's have a look at it. It's a beautiful ship. It's a little bit odd. It has some features you don't see on all the ships. So first of all, it's got an open deck veranda at the back. So that's nice for barbecues. It's got a shed. I don't know if this was one of the first attempts at effectively a wheelhouse, but it's got a shed, which is great. You can keep all your dodgy magazines and all the stuff you've borrowed from your neighbour and never give back in there. And she's got a big bell on the front. Look at that lovely big bell. I'd imagine that'd get annoying because it looks like a bell with a clanger. So that'd get annoying, wouldn't it, bouncing up and down while you're trying to sail. You'd have to hope that was tied off most of the time, and all the shrapnel hitting it. God, that'd make a right racket. But anyway, how is she as a ship? Well, I need to show you the thing on the nose first of all. Look at this. Look at this. This is a centaur. This is the body of a bull, although it looks a bit like a horse to me, and half the body of a man. And in this case, it's Jeheil Butler from 300 from Sparta, and he's holding his big fork. So, I missed my shot here. So she's an interesting looking ship, and how does she compare? Well, to be honest, I don't know if she's going to get nerfed, but at the moment, to me, it feels almost like hacks. This ship is absolutely fantastic. She has, out of the box, she's quicker than any of the other ships of the line. She's basically better than a Pavel at everything. She has more guns across the bottom two decks. In fact, she has the same guns as the Victory across the bottom two decks, with 32 42-pounders, so 16 on each side, and 32 24-pounders. You can't fit carronades on either of those, but that's the same output as the Victory. Her top deck is 24 12-pounders, but you can put 42-pound carronades. So basically she outspanks the Pavel. Her bottom deck is as good as a Victory. Armour-wise, she has... let me finish the gun. She's got the obligatory 68-pound car chuckers on the arse. She has no stern chasers, the same as the Pavel, which is just incredibly annoying, let's be honest. How they couldn't fit a couple of guns, or just a couple of chasers on the front. Get rid of that stupid bell and take Jeheil Butler's cast iron fork off him, and you could easily fit a couple of stern chasers on. Look at this charge shot. Look at this. This is the double charge. Watch this. Absolutely glued to the side of this Ingie. that Ingie's got one more blutering in him, and then it's going to be all over Red Rover for Pierre Latif. Armour-wise, she's got... So, sorry, speed-wise, I'm all over the place today. Speed-wise, she comes out of the box at 11.6 knots with... which makes her faster than an Ingermanland, which is just redonky-donk. She comes out of the box with 10,000 structure, or health, which basically puts her about 15% less than a Victory. But more than the Pavel. Now, because she's a 2 durability ship, this means I can put a steel toolbox on her and survival handbooks, and I will actually end up effectively with more health than the Victory because of the huge percentage bonuses they give me to my repairing. I'm at close range here, so I'm really not demonstrating the loveliness of this armour. However, as you can see, she doesn't half know how to keep it in. I'm just keeping her... At the moment, I'm in the wrong wind here because I'm talking while I'm walking. So I'm just trying to keep her flat by twisting my sails like this, holding my sails against the wind. And I'm also depowered. And I'm just trying to give myself a little bit of extra armour by angling. So she has more armour than the Pavel, she does more damage than the Pavel, she's quicker than the Pavel. Bucentaure, it might mean Bull Centaur, but I think it might also mean better than the Pavel. She also has more crew than the Pavel, so she has 840 crew. So if you put your crew space onto that and you put your hammocks onto that, you're running round with well over 900 crew. So this means she is a absolute capping monster if you load her up with gold marines. You're running around with almost 500 gold marines. Look at all the leaks in that Ingie. That Ingie is absolutely wrecked. But what we'll try and do now is stay slow and see if we can just turn inside this chap. We'll stay depowered. And we'll just try and turn inside him, because we're just going to let him sink, basically. Just trying to stay slow enough to cut across him. Some good wind, and then I can run away and lay down some biff on Denise. Oh, looks like he's slowing down as well. He's not going to play. He's not going to play with me. Alright, and if he won't slow down, well, we'll sail past him and give him another volley. I don't want to repair my rudder right there now. We'll just give him another volley as we go past. Damage makes prizes. And now we'll turn by him. Just keep myself flat as I come past. And we're on fire. Now, one of my friends told me when he was on fire the other day, he couldn't put the fire out and his ship ended up sinking. Sounds rather terrible. So as I come in to take on the other guy, I'm just going to repair my rudder and pump. And hopefully we'll get that fire out. And I'll show you now. Have a look at my damage now on my ship, because I've just been doing a review. I'm not exactly Mr. Super concentrating here. So if you have a look, I'm half down on one side. I've lost a little bit of the other side. I'm a third down now. Down to a third on one side, a little bit on the other side, and I've lost my bottom. So I'm now going to use my steel toolbox with, and I've also got survival handbooks. And really, I'm just burning a repair here. But I'm just doing this so you can see just how good these repair kits are. That fire's still burning away. So I'm a little bit nervous about that because one of my mates told me he had a bit of a problem with the old fire. And so we'll try and come round the other side of this fella. Yeah, so she's got, like I say, the same output damage-wise as the Victory, which is tremendous. She's quicker than an Ingie. Absolutely undoes a Pavel, and is one of the best boarding ships in the game. So I think she's an absolute must-have, and our beautiful devs have given us all a free one. So you can't complain about that. And now our repairs are beginning to make a difference. Just look how much this ship has been repaired now. It's almost back to full health. I'm still repairing. My crew aren't coming off repairs. There they go, they're coming off repairs now. But just have a look at how much that's repaired. One side's completely full, the other side is down to just a third, and I've even got a little bit of bottom back. So I'm just staying depowered, just to keep myself flat. And we'll just finish this guy off. So this is a good ship to take into a port battle. I mean, obviously the Victories are probably the king of the regional port battles right now. The Santis have proven to be just a little bit too unmanoeuvrable and so on and so forth. Her armour, the Bucentaure's armour, is slightly better than a Pavel. It's 74 centimetres, the Pavel is 73. And it's only 1 centimetre less than a... Look at that reload shot on an Ingie, get in there. It's only 1 centimetre less than a Victory's. So if you were to make a tanky version of one of these with build strength and planking, you'd have enormous amounts of health. And get a live oak build to buff your armour up. You'd certainly be able to go toe-to-toe, and I suspect you're going to be able to dictate the battle against a Victory because you'd have the speed, so you can choose which side you're going to engage on. You can choose... got a bit of water coming in. You can choose which side you're going to engage on. You'll be able to choose whether or not you you want to board if you're setting a boarding setup. Personally, with this ship, I would go with improved magazine access. I think that's a must. Gives you the extra reload speed. I quite like having barricades because I think for me this ship's good at boarding. And then maybe something like the optimized rudder. You could, if you wanted to make perhaps a teak version, which is effectively the one they gave us from the one from the devs. You could choose to go with a copper bottom. I'm not a big fan of a copper bottom on the big ships because basically a copper bottom gives you 2% additional speed. Well, 2% of 11.6 is bugger all. I think 2% works when you've got a nice fast ship, but it's really a lot less useful for the big boys. So I'm into the wind here. I'm showing my bottom, which is why I'm copping leaks, and I'm not angling myself because I'm just being lazy. Because it's a bit of a gimme, this one, to be honest. Here we go. Have that yet? And then what we'll do is we will load some double. Just make sure these guns are turned off so my load is about as fast as it can be. Let's see if we can just keep this guy here. It takes a while to load the old double. As far as mods, if you're going shooting, so if it's a battle like I've just been doing now, where you're really just wanting the DPS, then obviously the hammocks for the extra crew, because it's easier to move guys on and off repair and turn your sails on, Jeheil, you muppet, on and off repair, as well as manning sails all the time. So I'm a big fan of the hammocks. I like having the powder monkeys. That helps me speed up my reload. I'm a big fan of the steel toolbox combined with survival handbooks. That gives you enormous repair capabilities, as you saw here. And then for my fifth mod, well, you can play around a bit. Pelot's sights, if you want the extra accuracy. I tend not to bother with Pelot's sights. I go for an extra pump. Leaks are a big thing in the game. Having that extra pump protects you from getting a whole bunch of holes shot in your ship and not having a pump ready. Watch this go through, by the way. Here we go. Say good night. Look at that. I don't know if they'll nerf this ship, because for me it basically makes a third rate and a Pavel completely redundant. The third rates were kind of redundant anyway. I'm not quite sure why you would sail a third rate when you can run out in a Pavel. The Bellona doesn't stand a chance against it. It doesn't seem to have a weakness for me, other than the fact some people might not like having a shed. I'm a big fan of a shed. A little man cave, marvellous. Yeah, I can't see a weakness in this ship at the moment at all. I'm going to try and set up a duel with the Victory. The problem is you'll have to do it in teams, because you can't actually duel a first rate against a second rate at the moment. I think if you go in teams, we could maybe do a Vic and a Bucentaure, or a bucket, as we like to call it in our clan now. This is the nickname for this fella, the bucket. Maybe if we went in with a Vic and a Bucentaure each, we could then just wife swap a little bit, and we could have one Vic versus one bucket and another Vic versus another bucket, and see how it goes. Marvellous capping ship. It's good enough for a regional port. Those carronades on the top, they're big, fat, 42-pound carronades, and they reload really quickly. We don't need to take any more damage now. We'll sail off into the distance. So there you go. Quick look at the Bucentaure. A little bit about her history. What she looks like I say, I think she's kind of an interesting looking ship. She's the only ship in the game that I've noticed that has this beautiful open air veranda on the back for your barbecue. So that's nice. Like the lads have a bit of a barbie. She's got the shed. I'm not quite sure how the shed worked, because there's no window on the shed out the front. So I don't know if it was a wheelhouse to protect you from snipers, perhaps, as you closed in. She looks like she's got loads of hold space, but that just must be provisions for the crew, because in reality she doesn't have much hold space. And then she's got Gerard Butler Horseman on the front, which I can't get to because of the sail. There we go. Anyway, that's it for me. Thanks for watching. If you liked it, give us a like, give us a subscribe. I will see you on the oceans, and I will catch you.